Hey guys, welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. I had some easy meals that I put together this week and I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. Alright guys, so we're going to start off with some BLT'S. I've got some bread and tomatoes that I need to use up. I've got some bacon here, and I've got some spring mix. And I've also got some fries and some tater tots. I want some tater tots. My daughter wants french fries, so I'm going to cook both of those for us. And I will show you, oh, I'm also going to cook my bacon. So I'm going to get that going, and then I'll show you what everything looks like when I get it all plated. Okay guys, so here's my plate. If you hear like whirring in the background, it's the air fryer. I've got french fries in the air fryer for my daughter. But I've got my BLT, just a simple BLT, lettuce, tomato, bacon, some mayo. I've got my tater tots here, some ketchup with some black pepper. So yeah, that's what's for dinner tonight. Okay guys, so for dinner tonight, we're going to be making some mushroom pizza. I've got some pizza dough here that I've just had it froze, and I'll let it come to a temp overnight in the refrigerator, covered, and then I just let it sit at room temperature for about an hour. I've got some sauteed portobello mushrooms. I've got some basil here. I've got some homemade garlic oil, some tomato sauce. The only thing that's in here is crushed tomatoes, a little bit of torn basil, and some salt. And then I've got some fresh mozzarella. I've got my cast iron pan in the oven. It's coming up to temp. So while that's coming up to temp, I'm going to go ahead and press out my dough. And then when the pan gets hot enough, I'm just going to put the dough in there and add a little bit of this tomato sauce. And then I'm going to put it back in the oven for about 3 to 4 minutes and let that cook just until it's lightly golden brown, and then I'm going to pull it back out, and then I'm going to add my mushrooms, my cheese, and put it back in there until the cheese is nice and bubbly, and then I'm going to pull it back out. So I'll show you what it looks like when it gets done. Okay guys, so here is the pizza. It's all done, and that is what's for dinner tonight. Okay guys, so for dinner tonight, we're going to be making some bean and cheese enchiladas with some rotel rice. It's so easy, but it's so good. So for the rice, you're just going to use whatever rice you have on hand. I've got jasmine rice, so I'm going to use that. I've got about 1 3/4 cups of water here. I'm going to use about 2 cups of rice. I've got a can of rotel, and I've also got some chili powder and some cumin. So that is for the rice. For the enchiladas, I've got some cheese back here. I've got about 2 to 2.5 cups of cheese. I'm going to put half of this in the beans, so the other half can go on top. So I've got that. I've got some refried beans. I've got some olives. You don't have to have this. I'm just going to put it on top when it gets done. So I've got that. I've got some enchilada sauce. I've got some garlic powder and onion powder. I'm also going to put some salt and pepper in these. I just haven't got it out yet. And I'm going to put a little bit of this elote seasoning into the bean and cheese burritos, or the enchiladas. But if you can't find this, garlic powder and onion powder will work just fine. It's optional. And I've got some burrito tortillas here. So we're going to start off with the rice. I'm going to go ahead and mix all of this together. You're just going to mix your rice, water, your rotel, and about a teaspoon of chili powder and about 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. Mix it in with your rice. I'm going to use the Instant Pot, but you can do this on the stove. And then while that's going, I'm just going to mix my beans up into a pot on the stove, which I've got my oven preheating to 350 degrees. I'm just going to put this in a pot on the stove. When this gets warm, I'm going to add in half of my cheese, and then I will bring you back and we will put these together. Okay guys, so I've got my rice on. All I did was rinse my rice very well, put that in there along with the rotel, water, a little bit of chili powder and cumin powder with some salt and pepper. I just put it on the rice function, made sure it's set to seal, and it's doing its thing. While that's going, I just went ahead and mixed up my refried beans and just over on low heat. Just heated them up until they were hot. I added some salt, pepper, and garlic powder, onion powder, and some of my elote seasoning, and mixed that up really well, and then added in my cheese, and I've got that in there. It hasn't fully melted yet, but that's fine. So I just added a little bit of enchilada sauce onto my pan here, which I've already greased it, and all I'm going to do now is I've got 6 burrito shells here, so I'm just going to evenly distribute the bean and cheese mixture into my flour tortillas and put them into my baking dish. Okay, so I've got all of my bean and cheese burritos here all rolled up, and I just topped it with some enchilada sauce and the rest of that cheese. I'm going to pop this in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes at 350, just until all the cheese is melted and everything is nice and bubbly. Okay, so here is what the enchiladas look like right when they come out of the oven. I'm just going to let these sit for a minute or two, and then I'm going to make my plate, and I will show you what my plate looks like. Okay guys, so here is my plate. I've got some of the bean and cheese enchiladas. If you hear chewing in the background, it's my dog. She is chewing on her bone, so just ignore it. I've got the bean and cheese enchilada here. I've got some sour cream, some black olives. I've got some mixed greens, and the rotel rice here. So that is what my plate looks like, and that's what's for dinner tonight. Alright guys, so for dinner tonight we're going to be having roasted broccoli with some ravioli with homemade tomato sauce. It's so easy, but it's so good. You're going to need some ravioli. It doesn't matter what brand or what flavor. I have the spinach and ricotta, but you can use whatever kind that is your favorite. For the tomato sauce, I've got just a can of crushed tomatoes. Got some pepper. I've got some smoked salt. If you don't have smoked salt or liquid smoke, regular salt will do just fine. If you have liquid smoke, add just a little bit of salt and about 1 dash of liquid smoke. It doesn't matter what flavor it is. You don't want to add too much because the smokiness will take over the sauce. So a little bit goes a long way. I've got some red pepper flakes and some basil that I've just got chopped up here. And I've also got some homemade garlic oil. It's so simple. You can head on over to my Instagram if you want the recipe. I've got it posted over there. I've got some regular salt and some broccoli. So what we're going to start off with first is the broccoli. I'm just going to add some of this garlic oil with a little bit of the garlic, some salt and pepper to this, toss it up, put it in the oven at 425 degrees for about 15 minutes or so, just until some of the end bits are just a little bit golden brown. So I'm going to go ahead and get that on. While that's cooking, we will work on the sauce and the ravioli. Okay guys, so I just put my broccoli in the oven, so we're just going to go ahead and mix up our tomato sauce. I've got my crushed tomatoes in here with a little bit of pepper and red pepper flakes, and now you're just going to add in some salt, not too much because you can always add more regular salt later. Just going to mix that up. Okay. And I'm going to add in my basil. And I'm just going to put this on the stove over low heat and just let this cook. It should take about 5 minutes or so for this to cook, but you can cook it down to your desired thickness. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get that going. Okay guys, so to my sauce I just added some of that garlic oil. I added about 3 cloves of the garlic and about a tablespoon of the oil. And I'm just going to mix this together and let this cook on low. In the meantime, I'm going to cook my pasta. Now when it comes to your pasta, you can, cook it according to the package directions. And after that, you can either mix it with the sauce or you can top it with the sauce. So that part is really up to you. So I think what I'm going to do is just mix my pasta with my ravioli at the end. But like I said, you can do either or. So I'm going to go ahead and let this go and cook my pasta. Okay, so I cooked my pasta according to the package directions. My sauce is done, and all I'm going to do now, like I said before, you can leave this separate and serve it separately. You can put the sauce on top of the ravioli, but I'm going to mix mine. So all I'm going to do is mix the sauce and the ravioli, toss it very well, make sure they're all coated, and wait on the broccoli. They've got about 2 minutes left and it should be done, and then I will show you my plate. Alright guys, so here is my plate. I've just got some roasted broccoli, I've got my ravioli with the sauce, and I topped it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And that's what's for dinner tonight. Okay guys, so for dinner tonight, my neighbor brought over some tomato soup, so I just heated that up, and then I made some grilled cheese to go along with it, and that's what we're going to have for dinner tonight. Alright guys, so for this week's meal plan, on Monday we're going to have chicken bacon ranch sliders. Tuesday we're going to have Frito bake. Wednesday I think we're going to have cube steak. I was supposed to cook that last week, but I just never got around to it. Plus the neighbors brought over some tomato soup, and I love tomato soup, so I had that instead. On Thursday we're going to have pork chops, and on Friday we're going to have lobster ravioli. So yeah, that is this week's meal plan, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.